Good evening, everybody. It's me, Alan Drum, for Carolina Varsity, doing a recap on week one of the Catawba Valley area scores and how I did this week, and also the unveiling of the week two power rankings. I'm gonna kind of reboot it to make it more of a quality video, so that's why I'm doing take two tonight. Try to be on here about 30 minutes or so. I didn't post it live or anything, so if you watch the recap, then I wasn't too good, so I'm gonna be redoing it again. So let's get it started. First game we had Maiden at Freddie Ford at Maiden. I had Maiden winning that game, and they won it 21-6. I picked Maiden by 14. They won by 15 in that game. Pretty good game. Maiden was up 7-0 in during the half. Then was sparked by Malik Kennedy. Maiden's got a really good defense this year. Very, very good. And they could, I'm telling you, they could run the table. That defense is impressive. Quarterback gets out of pressure. He was sacked only 2 times, threw for over 208 yards. The running game looks a little better than I thought it would. Freddie Ford, they look a little slower than last year. It was caused probably of Maiden's defense. They do have a good defense themselves. I see them finishing second in the Northwest Foothills two-way conference behind Highbrighton. But I see Ford beating going on and beating Bandy's next week. But we'll get to that in my week two preview coming up later this week. Next game I got wrong. It was Bandy's 42, St. Stephen's 28. Bandy's they looks like they're under control with Ings. Tom Zines is a very good coach. He's going to turn that program around. They were they were up 21-0, as I heard in a report, but they gave up a lead 28-27. St. Stephen's scored, took the lead, but threw 2 interceptions. I had St. Stephen's actually maybe finishing mid of the pack. They look a little maybe down this year on defense. Offense, they look pretty good. But both teams' defense do need to improve later on in the season. A game I was really wrong about was Newton Conover 56, Bunker Hill 0. Newton Conover, I need a little more information on. Bunker Hill seems to be really struggling. They could get maybe a win or two in their conference, but right now it's going to be tough. Bunker Hill looks like they still are rebuilding and are very down this year. I'm gonna give Newton Conover credit. They look better on the score, but I just really think Bunker Hill is just really down at the moment. Okay, next game I got really wrong again was Stuart Kramer 44, Lincolnton 6. Stuart Kramer surprised me. I heard reports from my colleague Jeff Miller. They were very young, kind of struggled with East Lincoln, and they whopped the floor with Lincoln. Lincolnton looks like they were overhyped in the predictions. They were top 3. They looked like they could have a down year. Don't get much easier for the Wolves this week. They got South Point, and South Point looks like they're going to get rolling this week. Much easier team. I see Lincoln in the World of Hurt for next week, and hopefully, but they should get a win maybe against East Gaston, perhaps North Gaston, but depends on how down they are. But the Wolves don't look like a number 3 seed to me in a South Fork 2A. Kramer, yeah, Kramer. I have them as one of the teams to watch out for. They got a much tougher test this week. I believe they have a. I forget who they have, but I would have to check for the schedule because I don't follow Gaston area. That's Jeff's job. But Kramer could be finishing fourth in that Big South, and who knows? They could be underlooked. East Lincoln got this one wrong. Forest View takes it 20-7. Forest View was picked next to last, I believe, in their conference. Forest View looks to be a little better. East Lincoln looks to be down a little bit. I heard my colleague Jeff Miller saying the defense looked really good, but when you turn the ball over three times, one fumble and two interceptions, I believe, you cannot. Well, one interception and two fumbles, I believe he said. You cannot do a lot. And with Forest View, I've been hearing that they're rebuilding, and East Lincoln to lose to them 20-7. I believe East Lincoln could be in the world of hurt also. They have a bye week before they play a very good Ashbrook team. Right now, I would say Ashbrook's got the favorite, but they play this week, so we'll find out how good Ashbrook is a little bit also. But Forest View, I believe they're going to be a little better. Could easily get a wild card berth with their strength of schedule. They play some tough teams. Still, they got Clover this week. That's going to help their resume. So let's get to the next one. West Lincoln 53, drawn 0. West Lincoln, a very impressive win. This team is a veteran. They got a lot of players back. Their quarterback and their two running backs, Fansock and Brendan Eichard. I believe the quarterback's name's Bridges, Dallas Bridges, I believe. But West Lincoln could be in that top of the pack. Drawn, they look like they're going to be really struggling. They do have a chance to win a game or two in a down Northwest Foothills 2A conference, but I see a down year for the Wildcats again. West Lincoln, I got my eye on them. They could easily finish second in that South Fork. Next game, I got correct. I had them by 17. They won by 7. Was Thomas Jefferson. They are a 1A team. They defeated North Lincoln 34-27. I got that one correct. North Lincoln, they're going to continue to rebuild with a very good Thomas Jefferson team. I know they're a little down this year, but North Lincoln did fight hard, and I see that team coming together before the end of the season. But unfortunately, they do have a brutal schedule that could help them in conference play, though. So don't. They do have Bessemer City. I believe they could win. Bessemer City. I don't know how that flipped. Okay, I'm back. I accidentally touched the camera, but they have Bessemer City coming up. I believe they're open this week. They do have Alexander Central, and that's not a contest, but they got a couple of tough games up. I believe that could help them during conference play. Thomas Jefferson, I heard, was a little down, so I don't know. Maybe North Lincoln will be down again also. High Brighton 41, Jim Robinson 7. I had High Brighton winning by 38, so close margin there. High Brighton state favorite. Definitely maybe 1, 2 on people's rankings. High Brighton's going to have an easy schedule. I don't see anybody giving them the fit. Probably their toughest game is going to be probably Freddie Ford. But Freddie Ford don't have a very good offense. They're kind of down on offense as they were last year. So I don't see High Brighton struggling until at least playoff time, unless some major injuries occur. Robinson, they're down this year. I don't see them winning entirely enough games as they did last year. Eastburg 42, West Caldwell 0. I would have probably changed my vote to Eastburg if I would have done this before, but I wanted to get them in before the Wednesday deadline because of the Freedom Shelby game. Um, and I did pick West Caldwell, but I would have picked Eastburg probably by last Friday during the scrimmages. West Caldwell, they're going to be lucky if they win a game. They got a couple winnable games. They got South Caldwell, and they also got McDowell, but I just don't see West Caldwell winning a game. They're going to be really down. They got 1A numbers in a 4A conference. Their schedule's brutal. It's going to be a long season down at Gamewell. Patton beats Huss. Huss beats Patton 49-0. About this game, Huss. I think people are actually underlooking Huss. I believe they're a very good team. They got Zoe Wallace. They got that good corner on defense that's committed to play college ball. Jaheim Mullen, who played for Newton Connor, is a very good wide receiver. That team's loaded right up there with Crest and Kings Mountain. Patton, they're majorly down this year. They could finish anywhere between third and last, but their schedule will get a little easier. They still got Freedom, which I don't see them beating Freedom, but I do believe that they will win a few games for the end of the season. I don't see them going 0-11, but you never know. But I do see Huss being a major threat that should be ranked in the top 10. Them, Crest, and Kings Mountain's very close in count. Right now, I give the edge to Crest, then Huss, then Kings Mountain. There's just something about Huss that I like. I believe they were had most of their team last year. They got tested, and Adam Mullen, I believe it's going to really help them. I have them in my top 10 in my poll. People's putting them 14th. I believe they're underlooking them. I believe Huss could finish second in that Big South, perhaps first, but Crest is really good. Kings Mountain's not too far behind either. I do believe Huss is a little bit better than Kings Mountain, and Crest will win the conference. All right. I'm not going to talk too much about this one. West Star defeated Patton. With Hickory Hawks 47-6. I got this one correct also. West Iredell, we'll find out more this week. They play a very down South Iredell team. South Iredell is not as strong as they were last season. So I see them maybe perhaps giving South Iredell a good game. I'll give my score in our next episode. But South Iredell, I have right now going 1-4 in conference, but non-conference. It's going to be a down year for the Vikings. South Iredell. I'll get to Iredell County for a little bit before I get to my power rankings. Next game was Statesville defeated Hickory 30-15. I'm surprised it was that close. Hickory actually had a 13-0 lead before Statesville pulled all the way in the second half. Hickory, they look a little better than they did last season. Definitely could finish fourth in that Northwestern 3A, 4A conference. I originally had St. Stephen's above them, but right now, if I had to go with my best bet, Hickory would be the fourth best team behind Alexander Central, Watauga, and Freedom. As we talk about my favorite to win the Northwestern 3A, 4A conference, a team that I have a bunch that I've said this team deserves to be in the top 20, but a lot of people have not sold this team just correct. I don't know why. This team is deep. They have a very good defense, and I believe they could make a noise come playoff time. Is Alexander Central, and they were big winners in surprising fashion, 40-7. Line 7 points against that triple option much improved Burns team. You can't overlook that. You've got to pay attention to why this team was ranked to finish first in that conference. Watauga's very good also, but I see a lot more in Alexander Central. Alexander Central's got a very good coach in Butch Carter. They returned a lot from last season. Defense looks to be a lot better than last year. Limiting Burns to 7 points. I don't see them having any trouble in non-conference. They play a lot lighter schedule in non-conference. They got North Lincoln, I believe. Wilkes Central, I believe they have. I forget who else, but it is not. It's pretty down. But I believe Alexander Central could go a perfect 11-0, finishing above Watauga in Freedom. But I do have Alexander Central growing more and more as a unanimous favorite in it. And hit the button again. So forgive me. All right, I'm back. All right. Speaking of Freedom, I believe I skipped over Watauga. Watauga, yes, I skipped over that one. I do not see how I wrote down. So I did finish 11-6, not 10-6 as I originally had it. Watauga beat a very good TC Roberson team. I believe 34-15, something like that. But Watauga, I believe they'll finish second. Definitely worthy of a top 20 3A poll bid. Defense looks to be a little better. I have them finishing second in that conference in the Northwestern 3A, 4A. Let's get to the next one. I have was Freedom and Shelby. Freedom defeated Shelby by 10 points. I believe Freedom is a little better than they look in that game. Shelby, I still have them as a top 2A team, but Shelby and Freedom played a very close game. I watched that game on KTC Broadcasting Network. I know my colleague Jeff Miller covered that game. I do see Freedom finishing third in that conference, though. Freedom does look like they're going to be around a third in the conference as projection. Shelby should run the table, but I'm telling you, they do look like they have a few problems on that team. I'll definitely not. I didn't slide them too down, but they're still a top 5 team. Don't get me wrong, but them and Freedom. Much credit to Freedom though, because that quarterback they got, Birchfield, is very good for a sophomore, and that dude's going to be good by his senior year. He's going to put numbers up. Also, the new coach, forget his name, but I know Bob Brunt left. Freedom's going to win their share of games this year. They have an easier drawn team. I see them beating Drum like a drum. I'll have that in my projections coming up Thursday. So I don't see. But Shelby, they got AC Reynolds. AC Reynolds looks like they're quite down this year. I did not have them in my top 20 vote, and they lost to Southern Durham. I know hardly nothing about Southern Durham, but I didn't like the way AC Reynolds looked. I got tremendous feedback from my good friend Kyle Zumbach. They looked very good themselves, but I just don't see Shelby as strong as people projected. I see Highburton as the number 1. Number 2 would be Wallace, Shrews Hill, and North Davidson. Very close for that 2 seed. Last game I got for week 1 on the recap is McDowell defeated RS Central 22-7. RS Central seems to be pretty down. I do not see them finishing probably last. Seen Chase defeated, lost to Polk County by 3. RS Central loses to McDowell 22-7. They're going to have a down year this year. I see them finishing probably last in that conference with Shelby and South Point. McDowell, they got a pretty good chance of making the playoffs this season. You know, the 4A rule, they have easy winnable games also with South Caldwell and West Caldwell. West Caldwell will finish last in that conference. I do not see West Caldwell beating one this year. But McDowell, congratulations on the Titans for winning that game. Next, I'm going to talk about Iredell County a little bit. I don't want to include them in my power rankings. And maybe I should. If I get more feedback, I will include Iredell County in this Catawba Valley area power rankings. This is just my own. Nobody votes for it. If you would like to help make projections, think you can beat me. I went 11-6 this week. Feel free to email me at allengdforlife@gmail.com. Message me on Facebook, Alan Drum, or message me on Carolina Varsity if you want to help with these power rankings and also pick games. I did it on my own for the past 2 weeks. But let's get to Iredell County a little bit. Just checking what time it is because Big Brother comes on at 8. But let's get to Iredell County right quick. Lake Norman, they played pretty tight with West Forsyth. I still didn't write the score down on the reshoot, but I know Lake Norman played a pretty good game. West Forsyth looks to be a little down than they were last year. Definitely not a top 12 team right so far in 4A. Statesville had a little struggle with Hickory, but I see Statesville winning that conference due to one team. I know, congratulations to Statesville Christian actually playing football. Unfortunately, it's going to be a down year, but they're pretty down this year. They lost to Carolina Pride pretty big. Pine Lake Prep, I believe, is in Iredell County. I don't know too much about them, so I'm going to leave them out before I get more information. They got Lake Norman charged, so they should win that game. Let's see, who else? Statesville, we covered. Okay, this one I want to really talk about is Mooresville and West Rowan. Mooresville goes down to the U and scores 21 points before West Rowan scores a touchdown. Mooresville defeats West Rowan 21-7. Brand new coach out there, Kyle Zumbach, went to that game. Shout out to my buddy Kyle. Helps me with my poll and gives me a little information on the teams where I'm able to put this in my previews and stuff. But Mooresville, they're definitely going to be favored to get in a playoff berth. I see them possibly going 4A. Not to looking too much in the future, but I did put them as a team to look out for. I hope everybody does that. Put teams that you should look out for in the future. But Mooresville, they do play a very tough schedule. I see them definitely as a playoff team in the 4A and could win a game or two. Let's get to these power rankings. Last week I accidentally left out Freedom, so I'm gonna reboot it this week and just start going from this week to end of this regular season. So let's get it started. Number 16, I got West Caldwell. I talked about them a lot in this podcast. They look pretty down. They got 1A numbers. I don't see too much on them. Maybe they could beat South Co-op, but I doubt it. McDowell, I don't see it. There's going to be a down year for the Warriors. I believe their coach is retiring after this season. They need somebody to rejuvenate that program like the one before did that left after 2016. But number 15, a team I was very disappointed in, was Bunker Hill. I got them at 15 in my power rankings. Looks like another down year for the Bears, but the Bears do have some winnable games. They could possibly be drawn, perhaps Patton, perhaps East Burke, but losing to Newton Conover 56-0. I'm still not buying Newton Conover right now. They've lost a lot from last season's team. So I'm going to put Bunker Hill at number 15. Number 14, I got Drawn. Drawn could beat Bunker Hill. That's going to be a close game, probably. I don't see them beating East Burke. East Burke right now looks better than Drawn and Bunker Hill. I'm gonna explain a team that's gonna surprise some people in a little bit. Talk about a little bit about playoff situations, and this is gonna like what? What are you talking about? How can this team make the playoffs? Well, I will talk about it in a little bit. But number 13, I got South Caldwell. South Caldwell, I still got to go by word. Their JBs lost 2 games last season only. They look to be much improved. Right now, I got them at number 13. They're going to have 2 tough games coming up against East Rutherford and Kings Mountain. Kings Mountain should beat them like a drum. East Rutherford should beat them like a drum, but they got some winnable games unlike last year. I do see them beating perhaps Artist Central, West Caldwell, and possibly upsetting maybe St. Stephen's. St. Stephen's defense looks to be down, and beating McDowell. South Caldwell's going to win a few games this year compared to last season. You won't have one in 10 team making the playoffs in the second round. I can guarantee you that. Maybe more like 3-8 or 4-7. Next, I got number 12 is East Burke. East Burke, they seem to be getting their program together. They got a very tough test in Maiden. I don't see them beating Maiden. I see Maiden winning by the game, maybe by 2 or 3 touchdowns. I'll give my projection later on this week around Wednesday or Thursday. East Burke, they could actually could make the playoffs. Here's the reason why I say that. East Burke plays Freedom. That's one good team. Maiden. They also have High Brighton. Why I say that, also Fred 4, you cannot leave out Fred 4 too. Fred 4 got good feedback last season. If East Burke, and you can also put West Lincoln in there. They play a very good West Lincoln team also. Let's just say East Burke defeats Drawn, perhaps Patton, Bunker Hill they'll beat. 3-8, 4-7. They could possibly beat West Iredell. We don't know too much about West Iredell. They played a home school. But round of 4-7. If you remember last year when West Iredell made the playoffs, West Iredell had a good strength of schedule. East Burke plays good teams like West Iredell did last season. What's going to be hurting West Iredell this season is their strength of schedule. Mooresville, they're good. They're improved. But South Iredell, right now I got South Iredell finishing 1-4 non-conference. And they could easily not finish in the top 4 in that conference. East Rowan, they look like they've got their show on the road. Cox Mill, I don't see them beating Cox Mill at all. Nothing. A shout out to Gary Ashley. He is a very good South Iredell fan, but South Iredell looks to be rebuilding this season. They lost a very good quarterback. They lost a lot of seniors. But to put this way, Max Preps, it's all logical speculation how these power rankings go. But if you kind of look on last year's, we have a more better look. I'm going to put it this way, like I was trying to explain to Jim. I believe High Brighton's going to get hurt over their strength of schedule. The best team they'll be facing all season is J.M. Robinson or perhaps Fred Ford. The rest of the conference is majorly down. Patton, they're going to be lucky if they win like they did last year. Fred Ford, they'll finish second. They'll win some good games this year as well. Shelby, they got AC Reynolds, which they're kind of down this year, but they also got Kings Mountain. Kings Mountain in non-conference. They got Crest in non-conference. 2 teams that could win that conference. Shelby also has South Point. South Point's got a good resume. If it comes to playoff time, if High Brighton and Shelby's undefeated, they're going to put Shelby over High Brighton. Even though I believe High Brighton's the best team right now in the Western region of that 2AA, I believe Shelby will wind up getting them one seed, even if they have one or two losses. Because I believe that strength of schedule will be killing High Brighton this season. Those are things to look out for as the season progresses, but North Davidson, they could still go west. Shelby, they could just go small A. But strength of schedule is going to kill High Brighton if it comes to that. Let's get back to these power rankings. 11, I got Patton. Patton gotten brutalized by Hunter Huss. Hunter Huss is a very, very good team. I expect Patton to bounce back. They got a couple non-conference games they could win. Huss is a powerhouse. People are underselling that team. They should be ranked in the top 10. I believe they'll finish second in that Big South 3A, Big Three lot, what I call it. It's one of the best conferences this year in 3A football, in my opinion. 10, I got Newton Conover. I need a little more information on Newton Conover. Newton Conover beat Bunker Hill 56-0, but Bunker Hill seems to be down this year. If they beat Hickory, I could put them in that mid-pack right now, but Newton Conover just lost to all their team. They're going to have a down season. But who knows? This team could still finish in that top 3. Right now in the South Fork 2A, my little predictions, I have number 1 Maiden and number 8 Lake Norman Charter. Set 2 through 7 right now is so crouched in that middle. Lincolnton's down. East Lincoln looks like they're down. Newton Conover could be 3rd or 2nd in that conference. Bandy's, they look like they have a good offense. But I don't like teams when they give up 21-0 leads. I don't see that team as good morality. But that South Fork 2A, between 2 and 7, right now I've got undecided. North Lincoln looks to be more of the bottom. West Lincoln, I'm really wanting to see how much more of their work. They have the most experience back, but East Lincoln had experience last year too, and they were held at 7 points by Forest View and had 3 turnovers. Lincolnton, I have no idea what's going on with Lincoln. Lincolnton, I believe, I don't know. Just mind blown they get killed like that 44-6. Stuart Kramer could be good in that. We have a big 4 in that conference. But I do see Lincoln get killed this week also. They're going to be beaten like a drum. South Point is going to be looking for revenge, but I'll get to those pickings later on this week. Let's finish this list where we can wrap this one up. Number 9, I got St. Stephen's. St. Stephen's giving up 42 points. I do believe they're going to finish 5th, around the 5th march. Because we're getting into the bad teams to the so-so teams than the good teams of the Catawba Valley area. St. Stephen's did put 28 points on the board. They came back from a 21-0 deficit to take the lead. Turnovers hurt their chances of winning the game. So I'm going to put them at number 9. Number 8, I've got Bandy's. Bandy's gave up 28 points. I believe that hurt them a lot. They got a very tough game against Ford this week. I give Ford the edge right now, but I will not give a prediction on that game until Wednesday or Thursday. But right now I got Bandy's at number 8. Number 7, I'm moving up to Hickory. Hickory had a very good game against a very good Statesville team. I see winning that conference with South Iredell and Western Wynn. Statesville's a very good team, taking 13-0 lead, but couldn't hold on. Hickory's going to finish in that mid-pack of that Northwest 3A 4A conference. Number 6, I got Fritty Ford. Fritty Ford's got a very good defense. They're knocked down a few pegs from last year. Their offense is a little slow. They're going more ground and pound. If they play a very tough defense, they're going to get beat. But I don't see a tough defense with Bandies. I do have to see Ford winning that game. Freaky Ford's going to finish second, I believe, in that Northwest Foothills 2A conference. Number 5, I got Freedom. Freedom playing a very good game against Shelby. They did lose this week, so Shelby, I just don't. I wanted to put a team that actually won a good game in front of Freedom. Freedom will definitely be in the top 3 of the Northwestern 3A, 4A conference. Number 3, well, actually number 4, I got Maiden. Maiden, they had a very good showing. They got a very good defense. I could see them winning out. I don't see any slip-ups, but right now it's a little too early. Maiden's defense is good. Main sight, but he's a very good quarterback. He should win. Maiden should be favored to run the table, but Art East Lincoln's got a good front 7. We don't know about Bandy's or West Lincoln yet, but right now I will say Maiden's definitely the favorite in the South Fork 2A. And should be definitely worthy of a top 20 2A poll bid. Number 3, I'm going to give to Watauga. Watauga, they had a very good defense. Looks like they're going to be up. I have them finishing second in that Northwestern 3A, 4A conference. They got a easier schedule now to non-conference. In their non-conference, so they should win out to non-conference time. Number 2, I got Alexander Central. I've been high on Alexander Central all year. Alexander Central could be state contenders before the end of the season. Beating Burns like a drum really impressed me. They're worthy for that number 2 spot. If they get their show, if their offense is as good as last season and their defense is that good, watch out. Alexander Central is going to be a team to beat in 3A. Number 1, I got High Brighton. High Brighton, state title threat. Will run the table till playoff time. That's my number 1 power ranking. I know the show went a little longer than we expected. We had 2 visitors. I have no clue. They did not comment. But I am going to definitely post this in the Facebook page. Feel free to leave your comments. Like us on Facebook. Subscribe on YouTube. And also, if anybody needs a game in the Catawba Valley area that would like to be covered, let Del Ross or Matt Morrow or me know. Jim West. I'm open to Iredell, baby West Iredell. I will cover South Iredell. I'll get to y'all. But I'm more open to Caldwell, Catawba, maybe Alexander Central if the timing's right. But we want to get covered more in the area. I know I mostly go to Maiden games, but I'm going to try to break that a little bit to try to get these games covered for the area, because I'm supposed to be the Catawba Valley analyst, and I'm not the Maiden analyst. But anyways, if you want your game covered by me, I will definitely be there. I'm planning on doing coaches interviews also. I will have a report and highlights up on our YouTube channel. Our videos will be getting better. Personal talks, I will talk about that later on. But anyways, I'm going to be wrapping this up. This is Alan JD for CarolinaVarsity.com. Signing off. Like us on Facebook. Subscribe on here. Like the video. And follow us on Twitter. Until then, this is Alan JD signing off. Peace.